Ted Bundy, a name that is very well known in the world of crimes and serial killers. Also sometimes referred to as the campus killer, Ted Bundy is one of America's, and as well as the world's most ruthless and notorious murderers of all time. Even if you aren't familiar with the world of crime and aren't a fan of serial killer documentaries, I'm sure you are all familiar with his name. Theodore Robert Bundy, popularly known as Ted Bundy, was a notorious serial killer of the 1970s. Between the years of 1974 and 1978, there have been a total of 30 known murders that Ted Bundy had been convicted of. Who knows how many other unknown victims he has had? Ted Bundy was executed for his crimes on January 24, 1989, by electrocution in the Florida State Prison. While facts like these may be known to most people, there are many unseen and unknown sides of Ted Bundy's life that will shock you. So today, we bring to you 10 surprising facts about Ted Bundy you didn't know. Number 1. Ted Bundy used to work for a suicide hotline in Seattle. Imagine being at the lowest point of your life and being taken off the ledge by a literal serial killer. Some people in the 70s probably actually had this experience. In the early 1970s, Bundy worked on a suicide hotline in Seattle, and his co-workers said that he was actually great at easing troubled callers and saving lives. Talk about irony. Number 2. Ted Bundy did not know about his father. Yes, it's already blamed the parents o'clock. How many serial killers do we know of who had parental issues as a kid? The answer would be a lot. According to Bundy himself, he never really knew who his real father was. He was raised by his grandparents, who raised him as their own son. However, there have also been claims that Ted's father was also his grandfather. His biological mother may have been abused by her father, but there is no proof of this being true. Number 3. Ted Bundy was a scholar of Chinese. Among the list of serial killers, Ted Bundy was an educated one. He attended college and studied Chinese. However, Bundy dropped out 2 years later and started working in minimum wage jobs. Number 4. Bundy's college romance may have started his violent killing rampages. Back in his college days in 1967, Ted Bundy was in a relationship with a woman named Stephanie Brooks. However, that relationship was definitely not an endgame, as Stephanie broke up with Ted because of his lack of ambition and immaturity. This Stephanie Brooks person was a young white woman with long brown hair and a middle part. This may explain why all of Ted's victims were brunette young white women with a center part and between the age of 15 and 25. Number 5. Ted Bundy had a collection of decapitated heads of his victims. Yep, getting into the disturbing part now. It is thought that Ted may have kept a collection of the decapitated heads of 12 of his victims, and even kept them for a prolonged amount of time in his apartments. One may ask why one would do that, but come on. We are talking about a serial killer here, of course. He was sick in the head. Number 6. Ted Bundy's true motives behind his killing were more violent than you think. According to Ted himself, his true motives behind most of his murdered stemmed from an intense fascination with violent pornography. And he also said that every encounter he had with other serial killers confessed to having this problem. Number 7. Ted Bundy was a great prison escape artist. Even before he was a convicted serial killer, Bundy faced murder charges in Colorado, where he escaped prison and committed a number of criminal activities, which includes 3 murders, before eventually being recaptured in Florida in the year of 1978. He received 3 death sentences in 2 separate trials for his Florida homicides. Number 8. Ted Bundy was one of the most charming serial killers ever. Even when Bundy was an officially convicted serial killer, he had a number of admirers. Most of them were women. These women were in fact so interested and infatuated with him that one would even call these women his dedicated fans. This is something that we still see to this day. And believe me or not, there are still people who are obsessed with Ted Bundy and overlook the violent crimes he has committed. Number 9. From the days of his childhood, Ted was a weird kid. Ted Bundy has been convicted of a number of homicide cases that he denied ever having any relations with until the day he died. However, there are still some bone-chilling incidents from his younger days that may explain why he grew up to be such a violent person in the first place. One time, when Dad was staying with one of his aunts, he placed several butcher knives under the covers of the bed on which his aunt was asleep. When she woke up and obviously freaked out at what she saw, he just began to laugh. Number 10. Ted may have been abused sexually by his father/grandfather. We already talked about the rumors of Ted Bundy's dad being his grandfather as well. However, there have also been rumors that Ted was probably sexually abused as a kid by his father/grandfather. While there is no evidence backing this up, it is still no doubt that his father was in fact a very violent person. He was a person with explosive anger issues and was also addicted to pornography, which may have been the roots of Ted's intense fixation on pornography and how it influenced him to kill women. Alright guys, that's a wrap for this video. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, consider leaving a like and subscribing to the channel for more videos just like this. See you guys next time.